By 2050, 1 truck in 4 in Ecopolis will be carrying food. The average morsel will travel more than 1,500 miles. That pumps out as much carbon as 4 million cars driving around the world. One man has a bold vision, a radical way to feed future cities without logging a single food mile. Food grown in thin air and a transformed city skyline. Singapore, home to 4.6 million, one of the most densely populated places on Earth. It offers a taste of how tough it will be to feed tomorrow's megacities. Singapore grows just 5% of its own food and vegetables. The rest arrives by air, sea, and land from 5 continents.
Sweet potato is from Japan, and the chilies are from Malaysia. These are pumpkins from Australia, curry leaves from Malaysia, baby corns and spring onions, and they are from Thailand.
Horticulturalist and professor Lee Sing Kong knows importing food uses a lot of energy, and transport is only part of the problem.
We also need to preserve the freshness of the vegetables, and through chilling and other measures. And these processes too add carbon to the environment.
Food is a national pastime here. Professor Lee knows he can't get his fellow citizens to eat less, so he decided to find a way to get Singapore to grow more. He believes all future cities will have to do this.
Vegetables require 4 main essentials for them to grow. First is air, second is light, third is water, and fourth is a balanced nutrients in the form of minerals.
There's just one problem: land. Only 1% of the island, a tiny 3 square miles, can be farmed. With 90% of its 4.5 million people packed into high-rise apartment blocks, Singapore has no space to spare. This problem could get much worse in the sprawling megacities of the future.
Seeing the voluminous amount of food that has to be shipped into Singapore daily, consuming much energy and fuel along the way, it dawned upon me one day to ask the question, why not ship the farm into the city?
Lee did the math and surprised himself. He found that it would take just 9 square miles of farmland to make Singapore self-sufficient in vegetables. But where to find those 9 square miles? He scoured the city and realized the answer was staring him in the face. Endless patches of unused space on top of Singapore's high-rises. Lee thought, why not farm in the heart of the city? Obviously, he couldn't load hundreds of tons of topsoil onto roofs. But Professor Lee didn't give up. He turned to a revolutionary method: aeroponics. Plants not grown in soil, but in thin air. Lee spent 17 years developing Asia's first experimental aeroponic farm. And it worked. Today, the farm grows lettuce worth more than $2 million a year for Singapore supermarkets.
The roots are hung in the air within the trough, and the nutrient sprays are sprayed onto the roots, and the film of nutrient solutions that adheres to the root surface becomes the source of water and the moisture which the plant requires.
Unbelievably, the process needs no soil, yet produces bumper crops. And it uses only 1/10 of the moisture that traditional agriculture does, saving precious energy needed to pump water. But does aeroponic lettuce pass the taste test? Traders want to know.
Hi, Sergey. My time.
Lee's lettuce gets the thumbs up. The professor's lightweight aeroponic system works for all kinds of fruit and vegetables, bringing his vision of urban rooftop farms a big step closer. It's a chance to shrink Singapore's carbon footprint by reducing food miles. But there's another hurdle. This technology isn't as green as it looks.
The plants that you see down here, they are mainly temperate vegetables. and temperate vegetables require cool climate.
But the weather here is hot. Daytime temperatures average nearly 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So Professor Lee has to chill the liquid nutrients that feed the plants, or risk killing them. And generating electricity for cooling emits carbon. If Lee can't slash his energy bill, rooftop farming simply replaces one emissions problem with another. Enter Gregory Chow, a scientist at one of Singapore's technology colleges. He's taking Lee's idea a step further with a new technology he calls dynaponics. It's aeroponics with a brilliant twist.
What we have here are 520-watt air pumps which used to deliver air. So there's no water in here, it's just air.
High-pressure air transforms the nutrients into a mist of tiny droplets.
The roots here are growing quite well, and you don't see any burning. This shows that the temperature in the trough here is low enough or adequate for the plants to survive.
A tiny domestic aquarium pump powers the system. Using air, not water, to carry the nutrients cuts aeroponics electricity use by 90%. It's a crucial breakthrough for the Singapore scientists, and one that makes the technology truly green. But even if every rooftop in Singapore became a mini farm, the city would still need to import tons of produce. For Singapore and future megacities to be fully self-sufficient, they need far more growing space. Professor Lee has a plan.
Well, there are two buildings down here which are very close one to the other. And if at various levels where we can construct and connect the buildings with aero bridges, we can in fact construct sky-rise farms at different levels within that airspace between the buildings.
And it doesn't stop at air bridges. By 2050, entire buildings could be giant urban farms, producing fruit, vegetables, even meat. Experts claim a single 49-story skyscraper can produce as much food as 1,700 acres of farmland. Enough to feed 50,000 people without logging a single food mile. It might sound like bad news for truck drivers, but there will be far more new jobs created on urban farms.